Welcome back, guys, to some Retopology fundamentals. This is a very boring subject, I know, but it's really gonna help your sculptures with the detail level and really makes your details and folds look way more realistic. So let's begin. Okay, to begin with, Retopology is all about following the shapes underneath the skin and on top of the skin. You just need to find a balance. So if we take a look right here, let's take a look right here. So this fold right here is super important when the mouth open and closes, right? So to just add something like this, so you need to add like this shape around here, something like this. As you can probably see, just adding this wrinkly shape around here, and make sure that it actually can connect like a circle. So you can see this like edge loop here. As you can see here, you can, if we had this mirrored, you can see that it's like a circle, right? So that's really important. Then we can do the same thing around the mouth. Right here, just gonna make something like this. Here just connecting around. And then right here just following the shapes. The lip part here goes inside the mouth a little bit as well, right? So we're gonna make sure that that shows through in our topology. So we're just gonna start with something like this. Then here, just following the shapes. We can't follow it too exactly up like this, because it would look a little bit weird when we animate and stuff like that, but we can make it something like this. So just make sure that you keep following the shapes, and you try to make it a cohesive like circle. Something like this. And we're just gonna make this a little bit bigger so we can easily see what we're doing. Something like this. I'm just taking a look and trying to do this. Something like so, maybe. Okay, now we added like some very basic shape around the mouth, right? So now we're gonna do the exactly same thing around the eye. And having this like circle, it's super important to make the eye being able to like open and close properly. Yeah. So without that, it's gonna look very like artificial. It's just gonna look janky, you know. Yeah, here we have this fold. Now we have two options. We can either follow the shape of or the flow of the wrinkle, or the shape of the eye. The best scenario is to follow both. That can be a tricky scenario though, because it's gonna need you to add more topology. But in this case, to keep it simple, we're gonna follow the shape of the eye. But yeah, this is some tricky areas. We're just gonna follow the shape of the eye. See, I'm just going right like this, making this circle, trying to match so it's the same amount of faces on the top top lid as the bottom lid right here. Something like this. So, and you can see we can add an edge right here. So it goes through the entire thing right here, as you can see. So it's really, you really need to make sure that it actually can close and stuff like this, because you see people when they begin to retopologize, they just, oh yeah, this is like a circle, right? Something like this, and they think, perfect, I just connected it like a circle. But that's no circle. That ain't gonna work. So make sure that you connect it as a circle like this, so it goes toward each other. Something like this. Now we're gonna do like what I like to call it the raccoon. So yeah, so something like this. Let's go around the eye. So it's super simplistic. It just helps with the detailing within the like eye area, because you need a lot of like topology here, so you can morph between all of these different like expressions with the eye. So you need some extra topology to begin with, and you also need some shapes around to really help you make these shapes nice and clean. Because if you don't add this, it's gonna look really janky, as I said before. And these shapes are crucial to make the entire like sculpting parts when you go back with details and stuff like this, and like sharpening up these folds and wrinkles. If the topology follows the flow, it's gonna be so much easier to sell that wrinkle or fold or those details, because you ain't gonna be fighting like the flow or the shape topology. So this is super important stage. I can agree it's a little bit boring, but it's so important, so don't skip this part. So now we have something super simplistic, okay? And we of course want more topology on the face than the body, or most commonly that's how you want it, right? So I'm just gonna not cage in the head, like frame the face like this. I call it framing the face. Don't know if anybody else calls it so, but see, I'm just gonna frame the face right there. Something like this. As you can see, just framing the face. Super simple. So, this area is where I want more topology for the face. I want more topology. So then the rest of the body, we're gonna make it less like dense. The neck is still gonna be pretty dense, but when it goes and flows together with the body, it's gonna be a lot less dense. So we can have a lot more details on the face than we have on the body. That's super helpful, because you're probably gonna want more close-ups on the face than you want on some like random part of the body, right? So yeah, now we're just gonna make this like super important center line, because it's super important you have a center line. So I'm just gonna connect this up. This isn't gonna match perfectly in this like episode right now, but something like this. Just gonna make everything go upwards like so. Okay, something like this. Just trying to indicate all of these shapes nice and clear. But that's not always super simple, but you can see I'm trying to indicate these shapes. You can see they still follow these like nice circular, like nice circles. So yeah, so they can connect and become one circle in the end when you mirror it. So just think about that, guys. I know it's a lot of information to take in right now, so yeah, and I think topology can be pretty hard in the beginning at least. Right here then, just gonna add this like circle to the nose, so we can have some nice like nose, or like breathing with the nose animation sort of stuff, you know. We want to make this, or I usually make this like 6 different faces instead of 5. I think it works a little bit better. Then here you can add a lot of loops later, so you can see it's a circle. Okay, and then we also need to add a circle right here, so it goes from here up around here, so it follows the shape of the like nose. So I'm just gonna show you guys something like this. Then right here, just gonna connect it up. Okay, that didn't want to cooperate. Something like this. So, super simplistic, right? Connecting it up like this. You can see here, it goes like a circle. There as well. Then, now we're on a little bit more, not tricky area, we're on a little bit more easy part of this entire thing. So right here, it just makes like a shape where everything can just connect like this, and then just direct this towards the eye, something like this. So we want this shape here to be connected upwards from like the eye downwards. That's usually how I connect it, at least. And then here, from the mouth here, you can see probably right here. Okay, let's see here. Something like that. Here, like in the center right here. I'm usually just trying to connect it up. Like so. Let's see if this one will cooperate. Like so. Now this character has very like his mouth very like small and very far down. So usually it's like straight line, but now it's this a little bit curved. So you always need to you always need to like change the topology around to like person or like the face structure. Okay, something like this. I think this is starting to look pretty nicely out, actually. Okay, now we're here, right? We're on the stage, we have put in all of these different loops, and it looks like a decent start. What? No. What now, right? So right here, the ear, we're gonna cover in a different episode, but we're gonna need to have a lot of more like details around here, because it's real hard. Ear is a real hard part to retopologize. And now, I'm not gonna be able to fill up all of this in this episode, but I'm just gonna show you the process of filling up like some small areas here. Okay, so if you just start like here, to fill an area up like this, you see this doesn't match, right? So first thing we just need to do is just to match this. So I'm just gonna match this, something like this. You see, just filling it up, and here circle, so I can add more like edges around the mouth. So if I need more detail, it's really easy to add it. But don't add more detail if you don't need it. So something like this. You can just see, really simple. Just gonna go around here. Something like this, okay? Then here, just adding these shapes. Just taking one shape at a time. Then here you can see how it becomes a lot less dense, because we don't need the same amount of detail right here. You can still make it more details. Again, I'll show you how. Something like this. Like just smoothing it out like this. I'm usually smoothing it out, making it more like more into squares, because you usually just want to work with squares, right? But that's one thing I usually just fix at the end. So something like this. You can see just fill this entire area out real quickly, but we still has this nice circle here, we still have this nice circle here, and here it goes out from the face, right? Yeah. So right here now, let's see. I'm just gonna start with connecting this area up. Here we have a little bit more tricky area. Something like that, maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna try here. Here we're gonna run into like problems like these. you can probably see here. Wait, no problem. Okay, nice. Something like this. Making sure this wrinkle goes all the way around. Just making sure it actually looks like a wrinkle as well. Like this, just going all the way around and just filling this area up. Right here, let's see here now. How are we gonna solve this? Could just probably just... yeah, something like this. Just filling up the gaps and just trying to make it easy. Just trying to make it more like squares like this. And here, you see here, because we have this line going like this, we can easily add more details towards the eye or towards the lip. We can, so it's really easy. If we see in the like animation or rigging that we need more detail, it's really easy to add. That's super important. That way we plan some of these like lines before we actually start adding, before we start filling out the entire face. Yeah, but maybe I'll show you like how I fill out eye area as well, and then we're gonna call it a day, you know, because I can't fill out all of this in this video because it's gonna take a little bit too long. Something like this, just starting some very basic, very basic. As you can see, you're just following the shapes, making this round right here, right? Something like this. Okay, you can see pretty simple shapes, right? Then here, just adding more shapes. Okay, something like this. And here, we're gonna go into this raccoon-like part. So that's a little bit tricky, but can pretty easily be done. So you see here, I connect this part here, because this face is already facing towards the center. So I'm not gonna drag this like downwards or anything, because that's gonna make it more complicated than it has to be. Something like this. Just connecting it up, you see, just following the shape, taking one step at a time. Just taking one step at a time usually works pretty well with topology, or at least I think. Here then, we have a little bit of a more problematic area. I would want to fill this out like... okay, I'm just thinking, guys, I'm just thinking. These two I want to connect. I know that. And here we're gonna have to compromise a little bit. You can make this a lot cleaner, but we don't have the time to really like make this super clean. You're just gonna have to take time. It can take a couple of hours to make something super clean, you know, and I can't have a tutorial go on for a couple of hours. But you guys can see how it just filled out this area. Here, goes around, right? Goes towards the eye. Raccoon shape right here. Here, all of this just goes towards the eye. See, and downwards. Yeah, so that was basically everything for this tutorial.